My name is Lina, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I made this dress here. So you can either tie it this way or you can tie it above your neck, whichever you prefer. So please don't leave without subscribing. Give me a thumbs up, that's click on the like button. Also turn on your post notification for more of my videos. Like, share, and comment. So let's get right into making this dress. The first thing I did was to trace the basic fitted dress block pattern. So if you're following, you can do so. I'm gonna put a link in the description box so you can draft yours. So these are the materials that I used to draft my dress pattern. So the second step for me was to mark out my underbust. My underbust is 13.5. I'm also going to put a link in the description box on how to draft a bustier. So after marking my underbust, I had to square that out. The second step was to go up from the underbust 1.5 inches, and also I went in 1/4 inch. This is like the center space between the two bras. That's the bustier bra, so that's the center space there. So that is also a guideline for the curve, to create the curve. So I just created my curve. So if you follow, you can also create your curve just like so. The next step was to go in 1/2 inch. That's the center space. So the next step was to go in 1/2 inch. The next step was to mark out that line all the way down, just like so, and we'll connect the points. I went up 1/2 inch just to give me more coverage, and connected that to the armhole depth. The next step is to create the dress flare. You can use your discretion, depends on what you want. If you want it flowing, if you just want it normal. So I cut out the bottom part of the dress so I can construct the top of the dress. So the next step was to create the second curve. The second curve was not all the way up, so I went down from the armhole depth. I went down 2.5 inches. So I used that as a guideline to create the second curve for the bra. So that is all for the top. So if you're following, you cut your pattern just like so. Always label your pattern so you don't forget. The next step is to slash the bra of the dress. So from the beginning, just like so, I went in 2 inches. So I did that. So after marking that out, I connected the point all the way down so I can slash, and I can cut that out and spread it. So I spread my 1 inch apart. So you can spread yours 2 inches, 3 inches. It depends on how you want the gathering. So I tried to create the curve of the bra before adding my sewing allowance.
For the top part of the bra, I went up 1.5 inches because I'm going to fold that and also insert a rope. That is why I left so much allowance there. Why for the both sides and under I just used 1/2 inch.
For the skirt of the front, I opened the dot line. This is gonna be my slit, and also I'm gonna slash and spread. For the back pattern, I did the same thing by connecting the dot line all the way down to the dress length, and also I used the same size of flare for the front for the back, and connect that from the waist down. From the armhole depth, I just drew a straight line to the center back of the dress. You can go down if you want to. I also connected the dot line all the way to the armhole depth, just like so. After that, I cut my pattern out. For the sleeve of the dress, I went down, that's the length 5 inches, and I went for the width 20 inches. This is going to be cut out in fold, so it's going to be like 40 inches and 5 for the length. So you can go wider if you want a bigger sleeve. So this is my pattern and my fabric. So I have placed my pattern on my fabric and ready to cut. My preferred dress length was 52. The fabric I used is not that thick, but it's on the thick side. So I'm going to be creating this look with a lighter fabric and a different color too.
Sound right, boys.
I had to focus on that part so I can cut out the dot and also leave the sewing allowance. And don't forget, like, it's like a slash and spread, so I have fabric left to give more flare, to give me more flare look. So I had to do that, and also trim so I don't get any bulge.
It sound right, boy.
So after doing that, I had to like try them out to ensure that the top and the bottom of my fabric, like of my dress, aligns. So it's time to start sewing our pieces together to make a dress. So I'm starting with the front pieces. I'm going to join all the front pieces together. I pinned and sewed the sides of the top of the dress. The next step is to sew the bra. So I had to like knot the center of the bra so I don't mix that up. I folded that center twice, pinned and sew. I did the same for the second side too. So after that, the next step for me was to run a basting stitch on the bottom of the bra and also fold twice the top of the bra, leaving space to pass the rope. Before attaching the bra, I had to cover the center there, so I just cut out like a little facing and covered that. So it's time to attach my bra to the top. So after attaching that, I had to sew and sew the top too. So this is it right here. So the next step was to sew the bottom part of the front piece. I left slits. So I didn't really measure the slit. I just left the slit like a little bit past my hip. So, and also hem the slit so it doesn't look rough, just like so. So this is what it looks like after attaching them. So it's just the slit is just a little bit past my hip, so you can, it depends on your preference. So my next step was to attach my top and bottom front piece together. So I just align them. So if you follow, ensure that the dots are aligned properly. The next step was to create the rope. So I just use 1 inch. So you can make a bias, or you can just do what I did here. I just folded them into 2 and also fold again. So this is what it looks like after I sewed. I had to cut that into 2 because I'm using it on both bras. So you insert that. I tried to insert it with my hand, but it didn't work. Yep, it didn't work. So I had to use the old school method using pin. So try not to drag it all the way out from the other end, which I did initially. Oh my gosh, it was so hard. I was trying to be careful though, but oops. Just went in. So the second try I did it. Yep, I did it. So try not to pull it out all the way because you need it to stay at the side, the end. So I did that for the 2 bras and gathered them. So this is it here. So this is what it looks like. So I'm done with the front. So now for the back, I just joined the top of the back piece together and sew. After that, the next step was to sew the bottom piece together, just like so, leaving the center for the zipper. And once I was done, I attached the top and the bottom together. I left the center to attach my invisible zip. I'm going to put a link in the description box on how you can attach an invisible zipper. I have prepped my invisible zipper on my dress, so I'm going to be using a zip footer for this. This is it right here, done. So the next step for me was to create the facing for the top of the back piece. So you can also do a bias for this, or you can just use my method. So what I did was to pin, and yes, just like so, and so then fold again and sew. So this is it. You can use a hook there. The next step was to attach the front and back piece together and sew all the way down to the dress length. Time for the sleeve. So what I did was just to sew the sides together. So after that, I folded the top and the bottom together, leaving a space for my elastic. So after doing just that, I inserted my elastic. My elastic is just the same size as the fullest part of my arm, that's my bicep. So if you're following, you just wrap your elastic around your bicep and you cut that and insert into the sleeve. So this is it right here. The next step for me was to sew my elastic and push it in totally and close the space. So this is it right here. The second to the final step for me was to attach my sleeve. So what I did was to get the center of, that's the joining of the sleeve, and also the sides of my dress, pin that together in the center, just in the middle, and go on both sides 1 inch on both sides. Final step for me was to hem the bottom, and voila, that is it. Voila, this is it right here. Thank you for watching. Don't leave without subscribing. Also turn on the bell icon to be the first to see my video. Thank you. Share, like, comment. See you in my next video. Bye bye.